Welcome to the Georgia Public Policy Foundation's Friday Facts, where we look at the biggest stories from the past week in Georgia and around the country. As always, make sure you're subscribed to our Friday Facts newsletter. Just head over to georgiapolicy.org to sign up. Once you do, you'll receive our weekly update every Friday in your inbox at 5:30 a.m. With that, here are your top 5 stories from the past week. On Wednesday, Governor Brian Kemp pledged to continue pushing major tort reform legislation when the General Assembly convenes in January for the 2025 legislative session. Kemp made his announcement at the annual Congressional Luncheon in Athens, sponsored by the Georgia Chamber of Commerce. Almost 20 years ago, an unpopular U.S. Supreme Court ruling forced property owners throughout Georgia to worry they could lose their property rights to eminent domain, until a 2006 law put their minds at ease. But there were a few things in that Georgia law they didn't know about. Consequently, they may have reason to brood yet again. As it turns out, Georgia doesn't shield landowners from eminent domain, at least not to the extent they thought it did. The federal government is making its first loan to a crystalline silicon solar plant, loaning $1.4 billion to support a South Korean company's bid to build up key parts of the solar supply chain inside the United States. The loan from the U.S. Energy Department will be key to funding a $2.2 billion complex that Qcells, a unit of South Korea's Hanwha Group, is building. Going into the 2024 election, Georgia voters are most concerned about many of the same issues as voters around the nation: inflation and the economy. When asked what issue will have the biggest influence on your vote for president in November, 26.3% of all respondents said inflation and the cost of living. China has invested heavily to push its athletes to triumph against the West as a way of highlighting the merits of the Communist Party. These Olympic Games are no different, but for one key aspect. Citizens are openly questioning why Beijing is spending so much money on a sporting event when many at home are facing bleak economic prospects. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.